All right, we should go live.
We are, we
Hello,
are, we are, we
everyone.
are.
I'm Jim Reinhardt, if we haven't met. And today we're just going to give you a lighthearted, not too serious look at our successful ISE event a few weeks ago in Barcelona. And we'll start with a little bit about the buildup of how we prepared for it. We'll talk about our partnerships, the ton of publicity that we had with all the trade magazines and so on. And then we'll talk a little bit about the new products within our ecosystem that we launched this year. The build-up was fun, just like InfoComm. We planned for this for months and months and months, and this was my first ISE. I've been to probably over 20 InfoComms, but the electricity and the buzz at ISE was amazing, and that's because there were 1,800 vendors. It was in different halls, and it's more than twice the size of InfoComm, and well over 92,000 visitors, unique visitors, to the show, which just created such an electrifying event. But our focus is on standard-based AV over IP, as you know, and that was our main focus and our messaging at ISE this year, not only on the booth, but everything leading up and subsequently afterwards is just talking about interoperability and standards-based AV over IP. And prior to the event starting, we participated in the AV user group, and that was a speed pitch that I was surprised on. I thought I had 5 minutes to pitch, and it was 3.5 minutes. And not only that, Tommy, our marketing director, and I walk into an auditorium full of people. So with my heart pounding like crazy and jumping up on stage, it went well, and we had a very successful and a ton of people came to the booth and said, "Hey, I saw your pitch, and I want to learn more about PlexusAV." So it was a great experience. I highlighted our booth space, right? Again, talking about standards-based AV, and that was our mantra, that was our focus, and that was front and center at the booth, and front and center above our electronics, right? This is the heartbeat of what we do in our AV over IP. And we made that stand out, and also the interoperability with other technologies. Of course, we're IPMX based, but H.264, NDI, and Dante, and HD-based-T, and we'll get into that in a few slides with some of our newer products and solutions. At the AV user group, this was part of my presentation. It's within all the trades, all the magazines and online articles that we're reading in the trades, and this is from probably November, October-ish, December and January, right? Recent articles just talking about AV over IP and interoperability, where the future of Pro AV is going. And you read these in System Contractor News, Commercial Integrator. Interoperability is the next frontier of Pro AV. IPMX, the future of open AV over IP. We participated in a HETMA event. We actually sponsored them. And the president of HETMA, Joe Way, his predictions for 2026, open AV ecosystems and open architecture. Greg Jeffries, a well-known consultant from the UK, and his predictions in one of his articles is what's being born in 2026, and that's IPMX. And if you folks are familiar with Richard at Netgear, he released an article right before ISE talking about the broadcast triangle, which includes AV and IT. And that's the backbone, and that's the feature of IPMX, that it comes from the broadcast market. It comes from SMPTE 2110 and is designed for the Pro AV and Pro IT markets. Partnerships. Yeah, we had a ton of our global distributors there. They were bringing their customers. They were excited for our booth and booth layout and our messaging. We partnered with Netgear. We're part of the HD-based-T Alliance, and we had a focus group. No, I guess a focus group with them. We sat down, an interview and Q&A session with them. We're part of the Ames Alliance, and we had partnered with them. We were in their booth. They were in our booth. And as I mentioned, HETMA, folks that are not familiar with HETMA being the Higher Education Alliance or group here in the United States. Same with SCOMS. SCOMS is the UK version of HETMA. And we had networking events, booth tours. I even participated in a podcast with them, which was interesting. It was my first podcast, but it went off very, very well. As for publicity, we had all the major magazines. We had over 100 pieces of coverage, social media, print coverage, and so on, as well as numerous interviews and videos. And we had so much fun, our entire team and group. And in some cases, we're even surprised. They just show up and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes to give us a quick interview? But you see, there's smiles on everyone's faces. And it was really electrifying. And that buzz of our booth really related in our interviews. And we had a lot of fun doing that. More importantly is the interoperability via IPMX and the certifications that the AIMS Alliance presented. And that was at their Interop event 2 weeks before ISE in Geneva. And that was event, I won't get too detailed into that event, but that event certified 11 different brands, actually 48 different products from those brands. And 4 of those products were from Plexus. And those are our JPEG XS solutions. And that interop and their certification shown that product Y from XYZ Corporation can share audio, video, and control signals with another brand and another SKU, and in many cases, even a different technology. And that was certified. And we received certification from AIMS. AIMS is part of and backed by SMPTE, that broadcast side of things, and a number of other independent bodies. And that certification included branding and true certification labeling that we and those other manufacturers and those other SKUs will include on their product packaging. Will actually include labels onto our actual hardware, and that we are certified interoperable with those other IPMX certified devices. So that was a big buzz, and a lot of publicity came from that. And that's how we're growing our infrastructure. And for a few folks that may not be familiar with IPMX, it's a suite of open standards. That open standard interoperability that I mentioned is the backbone of IPMX. Not only video and audio, but metadata and control. Everything needed for the Pro AV market. It's scalable. Typically, the Pro AV market resides on that 1 gig. You may see some 10 gigabit solutions for AV over IP, but scalable up to 100 gigabits. And that's the broadcast side of IPMX. The future, right? 8K resolutions. Everyone has been talking about 4K, and we're seeing more and more 4K sources, but we think, and we all know in the future, we'll see 8K resolutions, especially in live event spaces and so on. And uncompressed, not only light compression and high compression, but uncompressed IPMX transport medium. Brand interoperability, as I mentioned, with certification right now, 11 different brands. Infocom would have many, many other brands as well as other technologies. Right now it's JPEG XS, but that will be H.264, 265 in the near future as well. Just expanding different protocols, different compressions, I should say, but expanding to different brands and different model numbers within those brands. And of course, extremely low latency. Latency in the broadcast market means seconds, but in the Pro AV market, we're talking milliseconds, if not microseconds. So IPMX is designed to support the low latency, or that codec triangle, which includes latency. And I put a little lighthearted note here, right? I think we're going to need a bigger booth. We had more visitors to our booth on the first day than we had all of last year across 4 days. And that's a combination of brand awareness, the Plexus brand, but also the interest in the interest with IPMX and the adoptability or adaption of IPMX. So it was very successful. And again, that added to the electricity at the booth. And on the booth, you may have seen within one of the photos, our background is our ecosystem. And this is a demonstration of our ecosystem. This is an image that includes our hardware as well as our software solutions surrounding the IPMX transport media. And there's some audio in there. We have Dante and AES67, so it's true AV, audio and video, as well as control over an IP network. And this got a lot of photographs from our background, especially when it came to the magazines and the publicity side of things. This really tells a story of our ecosystem and where we're going and how we're moving forward with AV over IP. For those who are familiar with our solutions, AVN4 being our flagship transceiver, this was front and center at the event and has been for a couple of years. This adoption has been fantastic for JPEG XS, has all the features, checks off all the boxes for everything that's needed in a Pro AV installation. This doesn't just compete against one particular brand, and I won't name those brands, but this competes with a culmination of different brands. And again, checks off all the boxes needed and required for Pro AV. As we expand our ecosystem, that leads to other endpoints. And to expand upon JPEG XS, we now have encoders and decoders. And this is the AVN4E and the 4D, which we had at the show. This is in production and will be shipping the end of this month, actually. We're on a number of specs. And the reason is this then brings the price points down. We lose a little bit of functionality versus a transceiver. These are Dante enabled, or they could be Dante not enabled. And being Dante enabled allows us to be more interoperable with the audio side of the Pro AV market. But for JPEG XS, this will be the lowest price point, the most cost-effective encoder and decoder combination that will be on the market. So not only exceptional video quality, low latency, and bandwidth management, but even more cost-effective than other competitors out there. We also had our AVN2. Again, this is a flagship H.264 unit that we've had on the market for quite a while. Same features and functionality as the AVN4, although this is H.264, 265 only. Again, at the show and part of our ecosystem, we introduced two new endpoints. And again, similar to the AVN4, we took away a little bit of feature, a little bit of functionality. In these cases, we took away fiber optic connectivity. For instance, we've removed the LCD screen on the front. We're able to bring the price points down and be more competitive in the market, keeping that video quality there, that bandwidth management, and that very low latency over H.264 compression. A new unit that we've shown as well and will be shipping soon is our AVN3. This is a gateway to bring legacy infrastructure over HD-Base-T into an AV over IP network and the Plexus network. So this can take, it's HD-Base-T 3.0, and this could take in legacy HD-Base-T transceivers, or transmitters, I should say, bring that into an AV over IP IPMX network. This is a gateway. It could either be an extender or receiver per se, where we can take HD-Base-T to IPMX, or IPMX in and convert that to HD-Base-T for existing infrastructure. So other manufacturers' receivers that are behind projectors or behind flat panel displays, no reason to rip those out and replace those with an AV over IP endpoint. With the gateway, we simply add that to the rack, and then we can have uncompressed up to 4K 60 video delivered to those existing receivers. What also got a lot of buzz was our eco mode functionality within our infrastructure. This is within each of the AVN4s, AVN2s, as well as the AVN3. We're able to reduce our power consumption of our endpoints by up to 25%. We can't turn the units off, the endpoints, because you'll never be able to turn them on, but we know that our customers turn displays off, they turn projectors off. And the power consumption is not really thought of, but when you have 3, 5, and 7-year installs, and you're talking hundreds of endpoints, when you reduce the power on the weekends, overnight, during holidays, when you reduce the power by 25%, some enterprise customers and college campuses, you're talking about tens of thousands of cost savings on energy over the course of those 3, 5, 7 years. So it's very economical, it's sustainable, we're looking towards the future, And it's a soft cost and a USP for us to go to market talking about how we can save energy and conserve money and make it more cost effective to deploy a PlexusAV infrastructure. And when I talked of this during my podcast, this gentleman eyes lit up. So he's from HETMA. He was my interviewer. When I mentioned eco mode, he took over the conversation, to be honest with you. And I had to pull him back to more Plexus. But he, being higher education, university, large campuses, he was excited about where we're going with eco mode and how that could save him and his installations just tons of money on the back end. So a little lighthearted photograph there on our relationship with HETMA. Speaking of power, we're introducing a HD-based T wall plate. This is not AV over IP. This is not part of our AVN infrastructure. This is simply an accessory. And this allows you, your customers, to take in either USB-C or HDMI, bring that over HD-based T to an endpoint. If you want to put someone else's receiver there, fantastic, go ahead. But the idea as an accessory is to bring this now into that AVN3 HD-based T gateway. So this is an extender. This is a transmitter. It's not a receiver. It could be used as standalone, as I mentioned, with a third-party receiver, but more importantly, bringing that into that AVN3. We'll also give you charging. So POC, we could give you 30 watts of charging to keep your device charged, or if you do need charging capabilities, with a power extension coming from the rack, we can give you up to 60 watts power. So although eco mode saves, this gives you the ability out in the classroom, out in the conference space, to give you charging via HD-based T. Also with charging and electricity in mind, we introduced our AVN ChargeLink 100. And this is not, again, an AV over IP solution. This is more for huddle spaces, small conference rooms, classrooms. This allows you to have USB-C and HDMI connectivity, can give you network connectivity. This will be a network gateway for USB-C devices, but this is also USB-C video extension and HDMI extension. KVM as well. We give you KVM of PTZ cameras at the front of the room. And this will give you up to 100 watts of charging as well. As an accessory, the HDMI output of the ChargeLink could simply go into one of our encoders. We bring that into the IPMX or the Plexus network. But this could also be a standalone at the table, under the table, for a projector or a flat panel display in that conference facility. We had some upgrades to our software. This is our AVN, our web interface that's available for free on every single one of our devices. This allows you to tunnel into that device, control it, select your sources, get a video preview of the video sources that are playing on the decoders and what's sending on the encoders. Your network management is all here, but we improved it a bit. And that's with firmware version 1.4. We added eco mode, as we talked about earlier. Our REST API is now available, and I'll have a slide on that. HDCP enablement through the web interface. And we could also daisy chain endpoints. So decoders, digital signage applications. We can daisy chain up to, and possibly a little bit more than 15 units, all with a single run coming back to your network switch. So infrastructure costs, cabling costs, the cost of labor to pull those home runs back to the rack, we can reduce all that cost with the daisy chain capabilities. And we also added some additional monitoring capabilities. NMOS discovery, of course, is available through the web interface and also with visual array. And with visual array, we added some of the monitoring capabilities. For units offline, if a source has been disconnected, it's a quick snapshot. It's a single pane of glass for remote monitoring of our Plexus endpoints. Stream Conversion Gateway was part of our section within the booth, and we showed synergy between our parent company, Cencor, and their OmniHub IPTV solution being brought into Stream Conversion Gateway and converting that to IPMX. So in that case, we can take IPMX video signals, bring that into an IPTV infrastructure, hospitality, casinos, stadiums, enterprise, corporate, or vice versa, right? We could bring IPTV, bring that into IPMX and deliver that to flat panels and projectors and so on. So that integration between other streaming technologies, NDI, security cameras, converting those protocols and bring that into something different. That interoperability between IP streams is through Stream Conversion Gateway. So we expanded that to include MPEG TS this year, or the IPTV, and expanding the capabilities of Stream Conversion Gateway. Here's an example of one of the diagrams that we presented as well, taking IPMX streams, converting that to NDI in this case, to MPEG, even up to YouTube, right? RTMP signals to go to maybe House of Worship, and they have a Facebook channel or YouTube channel. So that's the conversion of stream conversion. And now we added the IPTV capabilities with that. Further down the road in our roadmap, which will be later this year and demonstrated at ISE, was the market's first IPMX loudspeaker. Those were either in ceiling. We had pendant. We would listen to music on our pendant speakers, and we had surface mount speakers. So this is our next expansion of our ecosystem, and it'll be the market's only IPMX, PoE, IP-based loudspeaker. Control options, IPMX with NMOS Discovery, Dante, AES 67, all the requirements and the open standards for audio, and doing that over an IP infrastructure. And lastly, we talked about our Developers Hub. This is new. This is on our website and available to our integrators and our programmer partners that need our REST API information. We're making it much easier for them to access that information via our website. It's easy to search and find API documentation, different codes and requirements for their programming of our infrastructure. This went over very well. There were a number of manufacturer partners that came to the booth, and we spent time with them going through our API documentation and this developer hub. That was it. And the gang had smiles on their face. It was very successful. Our entire global team was there, of course, and our support staff was back home taking care of the day-to-day, but we had a lot of fun over the week plus in Barcelona. So I'll open that up to any questions or comments or projects you're working on or challenges you may have. And hopefully we can answer those questions or do a deeper dive outside of this presentation. We thank everyone for joining us. I'll end it now, and hopefully we'll be in touch. Bye, everybody.